All right, guys, today we're going to talk about having more than one VA loan at a time. Guys, it's one of the biggest myths in VA lending is that you can only have one VA loan at a time. You can actually have multiple VA loans at a time, and I'm going to show you how to do it, what you can and what you can't do. But first, if this is your first time watching us or if you've watched us before, thank you so much for finding us and watching. I hope this information I'm about to share is helpful. So let's talk about it. Having multiple VA loans. Guys, a VA loan and VA guidelines are not about having just one loan. It's not based on that. What VA does instead is they base it on your entitlement. If you've used all of your entitlement, then you're done getting VA loans. However, if you have not used up all of your entitlement, and there's two types, there's basic and bonus entitlement, then you can finance another home with a VA loan and have more than one VA loan outstanding. In fact, you could have two or three. It just depends on the size of the loans and how much VA is charging against your entitlement for each of those loans. So here's where it gets sticky. What you can't do is purchase an investment property or a second home using a VA loan. That's what you can't do. Here's another thing you can't do. You can't churn investment properties by buying a primary and then suddenly moving out 3 months later, 6 months later, turning that property that you just financed with a VA loan into a rental, and then buy another VA primary 6 months later, move out, turn that second house into a rental and churn. The intention has to be for the property financed by a VA loan. The intention has to be for that to be your primary residence. Now, what happens a lot of times is a veteran will get new orders, and maybe they just bought a house a year ago and they financed it with a VA loan and they have to relocate. Well, guess what? That's completely acceptable, and they can then finance, provided they have enough entitlement left, they can finance that new home in the new state, in the location where they've been moved due to their new orders with a VA loan. Another example, if somebody is not active and they use their VA loan and they live in a house in Arizona, and then something happens like a new job opportunity comes up in Georgia. In fact, this is an example we just had and closed on a VA loan for a client. They have a house in Arizona that was financed with a VA loan. It was their primary residence. And now they're moving to Georgia for a job opportunity. Guess what? If they have enough entitlement left, they can finance that new home in Georgia with a VA loan and have more than one VA loan at a time. They can then convert their Arizona home to a rental. Guess what, guys? They don't need to refinance out of that VA loan in Arizona. The only reason you would have to refinance out of a VA loan is if you go to use your VA loan on a new purchase and you don't have enough entitlement. Then you're gonna maybe wanna refinance out of your old VA loan to free up the entitlement charged to it. So yes, there are certain situations where you need to refinance out, but it's not based on the number of VA loans you have. Again, there's no rule that says you can have just one VA loan. It's all about the entitlement and how much entitlement is available when you go to finance a VA loan. So you could have more than one. And how do you figure this out? Well, that's a question we get all the time. This is something that you leave up to your lender. You work with your lender on, and what they'll do is they'll get a copy of your VA certificate of eligibility. On there, it will say how much entitlement was charged to an existing VA loan for you. As a lender, we then take that number, and we also utilize the maximum conforming loan limit in the area you're looking to finance. And there's a formula we run to see how much entitlement you have left. Now, sometimes if there's a lot of entitlement left, then you can finance that next home using a VA loan with 0% down. But another scenario that pops up quite often is that there's entitlement left, but not enough to do a 0 down VA loan. So maybe you have to come in with a little money. That down payment can be all over the map, guys. It just depends on how much entitlement is left. The most recent one we had, a veteran had to come in with about $1,000. There was just short on the entitlement remaining on a second VA loan to do 0 down. So it's really easy for your lender to calculate your bonus entitlement, remaining entitlement. If you're looking at using another VA loan, having more than one outstanding at a time. So guys, quick recap. You can have more than one VA loan at a time. VA is not based on the number of loans you have with them. It's based on how much entitlement you have left. How do you figure out how to do that and how much you have left in entitlement? Your lender can help you with that. They utilize your VA certificate of eligibility. We call VA COE, really easy to get. You may already have it. The lender we order them. They usually get them instantly. And there's a formula we run and we come back and say, hey, look, here's how much you can borrow on another VA loan. Sometimes there's a down payment required. A lot of times there isn't. So it just depends on how much entitlement you have left. But guys, that's one of the biggest myths we see in VA lending is that you can only have one VA loan. And again, I need to mention this too. You can't finance second homes, meaning vacation homes or investment properties with VA. It's got to be a primary residence. And if you try to churn rental properties like I explained earlier, guys, you can't do it. That's against the rules too. But if your intention is to buy a new primary and you've got a reason for vacating your existing primary with a VA loan, VA is fine with you having multiple VA loans at the same time as long as you have enough entitlement and your lender can help you figure that out. Guys, I hope this is helpful. Let me know in the comments and questions below. And if you don't already, please like and subscribe. Thank you.